prior to becoming a life coach, my perception of coaching was, okay, so it's a bunch of like woo-woo white women in Brooklyn who all shop at like Whole Foods.
It's not as supportive as therapy. It's maybe not really that helpful.
Well, I mean, the terms life coach is bad branding. Like, I think it's branding that could be reconsidered.
You may have heard about life coaches through a friend, the film Shallow Hal, or Tony Robbins, who brought coaching into the mainstream.
Just briefly stated, coaching is about moving forward, deepening the learning and moving forward. Therapy, also super useful, is about going back and figuring out the why.
When you search life coach, Google tries to explain what a life coach is. A lot of people on Twitter seem to think it's a scam. Scandals haven't helped the reputation either. But despite this, the coaching industry is thriving. It's a $2.85 billion global industry with 71,000 professional coaches worldwide and 23,000 based in North America. And the profession is growing. Between 2015 and 2019, the number of coaches worldwide increased by 33% globally and in North America.
Now that I have the experience of working with a coach, it's a modality that I wish I had started sooner.
Coaching is an unregulated industry with no formal training or license required. This allows virtually anyone to call themselves a coach.
There's a lot of people doing life coaching, and it's kind of like buyer beware, because there's a wide range of people charge everything from $5 to thousands of dollars and have various experience to no experience.
I've never met a person who has a life that's so balanced, so finely tuned, so in order that they can presuppose a knowledge of how to help a person whose life is in disarray.
I think that there's a big misconception of like life coaches shouldn't exist. Like if it's not regulated, that should not be a thing.
And it's important to understand that coaching is not therapy, but the lines can get blurred.
Different forms of psychotherapy can focus on different aspects of what someone's struggling with. To say that psychotherapy focuses on the past, I think that's a misconception of psychotherapy.
A skeptic myself and wanting to better understand the life coach industry, I spoke with a number of life coaches and people who have worked with life coaches, and I took a couple of sessions.
Alrighty then, so it's your session. What do you want to talk about?
Figuring out the next step in my life and how to manage now that I have a daughter.
A life coach is meant to help unlock your potential.
Coaching's about partnership. When coaches work with clients, and when I work with a client, I'm their thinking partner. With coaching, we recognize that the clients are going to provide the answers for themselves.
Coaching is not problem solving or advice giving. It's a relationship, and the client is the expert. That's what allows me to go in and coach CEOs of billion-dollar companies. It's like, what could I possibly tell them about running their business?
I started working with my coach in November of 2020. It's vital for coaches to have coaches, because who's checking my thinking? Who's asking me incisive questions that are making me a little uncomfortable, and who's holding me accountable?
Before I started with the life coach, I found myself, successful in my career, but entering a new phase as a executive director for the first time. But I found myself with much more work to do, a increased staff than I was prepared for. I had a performance review where there was a clear discussion of growth, expectations I exceeded, and when there were some development opportunities that were really fair. And I thought, how would I accomplish these? And that's where a life coach came in.
Coaches are also different from psychologists and psychiatrists.
Psychologists predominantly provide assessment, can diagnose different mental health conditions, provide psychotherapy interventions, whereas a psychiatrist has gone to medical school and they can also do psychotherapy, but they are uniquely trained in provision of psychotropic medication.
Coaches are not investigating, if you will, kind of what happened in a person's past. As a coach, I'm working primarily with people who are functioning fairly effectively, but they still want to make some improvements in their lives.
Despite clear differences, the appeal of coaching may be due to the stigma of therapy.
There is still stigma associated with mental health treatment, for sure. I think we're making a lot of progress. I think there have been great public awareness campaigns that have made it more acceptable to speak with mental health professionals.
The midpoint between drawn out analysis and psychopharmacology really is coaching, because it's efficacious. And I would argue that it has supplanted analytic psychotherapy.
The International Coaching Federation, better known as ICF, is the world's largest organization of professionally trained coaches, the closest you'll get to a regulatory body. ICF defines coaching as partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. The process of coaching often unlocks previously untapped sources of imagination, productivity, and leadership.
ICF, created in 1995, is the largest organization for professional coaches and professional coaching. It's a very global organization. We are proud home to over 40,000 members in over 140 countries. And the mission of the organization is to advance the professional coaching and make sure that coaches adhere by the stringent standards and ethics in professional coaching.
Well, I mean, there are all kinds of coaches out there. There are nutrition coaches, there are leadership coaches, executive coaches, life coaches, you name it. So these are all specialized areas of coaching that people enter and choose as sort of like a niche. The difference is really what they're focusing their skill set on. The skill set itself doesn't necessarily change.
Most coaching is usually structured in weekly or bi-weekly 1-hour sessions. According to ICF, the average fee for a 1-hour session is $244, but costs can be as high as $1,000.
My contracts are 6-month minimum. Having done extensive transformation work, I know 6 months is about like the minimum you need. 2, as a small business owner, like I would really love to know what I'm making for the next 6 months. So that's really important to me. How it works is it's weekly 1-hour sessions. I charge currently $550 a month.
I'm very transparent with my rates. I charge $250 per session.
I do a billing of $300 per month, 3 1-hour sessions.
I began seeing a coach pro bono, but decided to continue paying for services. And I currently pay my coach $250 an hour.
Personally, I'm paying $400, about $400 a month for my coach. And that breaks down to 2 30-minute sessions.
Search Life Coach in YouTube, and many of the resulting videos explain how to quickly become a coach and earn a lot of money. Because coaching is unregulated, it doesn't require education, training, or a license, unlike psychiatrists and psychologists.
From the time you enter undergraduate education through becoming a licensed clinical psychologist would take a minimum of 10 years. You cannot call yourself a psychologist without being licensed as a licensed psychologist in the state in which you practice.
Some life coaches build a practice solely around their life experiences and overcoming personal challenges.
Don't hold any certification or degree in the realm of life coaching. I'm a certified health coach. And then the remainder is life experience from this lifetime, past lifetimes, wisdom from, my own trials and errors. What I've noticed is that my life experience, and even more than my life experience, but the way that I walk the talk and the way that I embody the things that I share has just been absolutely all that people need in order to be like, that's who I want to support me. That's who I want to be my guide, because I see that they're walking the talk.
Other coaches enroll in training programs and accumulate hours to gain credentials. ICF offers the most widely recognized credential.
I've got a second master's and I've got my doctorate in education from Harvard University. And I'm also professional certified coach through an ICF credentialed program.
I've been coaching full time now for 15 years, nearly 15 years. I went from an associate certified coach to a professional certified coach to a master certified coach. And the master certified coach is the highest level of certification.
Currently, there are about 33,000 coaches holding an ICF credential.
And then I also got a board certified coach, which is a BCC, which is a new certification.
Nearly 2,400 people around the globe hold this credential, offered by the not-for-profit organization Center for Credentialing and Education.
I have everything I need for ICF certification at the ACC level. I have just not submitted the application. Could you believe that? I should probably talk to my coach about that.
Training and credentials, or lack thereof, does not seem to be a major barrier for coaches.
When I first started the program, I was very much, yes, certification is going to prove my worth as a coach. 18 months in, I'm like, certification is just a nice thing to put on a wall. And I have been fortunate that I've not needed certification for anything. And when I choose to submit the paperwork, it'll be because I kind of want to see it on my wall versus thinking I need it.
So many of my clients, one of the reasons they say that they came to me is because of the credentials and the degrees from Harvard. My clients have said that they feel that there's a level of trust and safety that's been developed by knowing that I am someone who is highly educated and highly trained in this profession.
I think the people that are coaching without training don't understand that coaching is actually a specific set of skills.
Accomplishment Coaching is an ICF accredited program. Enrolling in an ICF accredited program ensures one meets the requirements for ICF credential.
Basically, it's a 12-month program, 8 hours a day, 1 weekend a month. And each of those weekends is built around a specific topic or module. So some of those include conversations about integrity, about money, about relationship, about business and organizational coaching. You're also given a coach, and that coach is trained by us. The coach is actually going to be coaching you every single week for the entire year.
I came away with lots of tools and things to build my business, but that was also the objective from day one. They were like, and now go be coaches and go mess up and tell people you're training and this is how it's going to work. And then come back, have all your breakdowns, and then go back stronger as coaches.
How much does this program cost?
$18,000.
For Alyse Parker, her business is founded on her experience, not her training.
I can't remember a time that someone was wanting to work with me and asked if I had certain certifications or schooling and then decided not to because I didn't.
After gaining nearly 1 million social media followers documenting her life on YouTube, she noticed many of her followers wanted to model their lives off hers.
The birth of this group coaching program came from me sharing my journey authentically for years and receiving so many questions and comments on like, I wish I could have what you have. I wish I could be living my dream life. I wish I could have the courage and the bravery to really go after my dreams.
Alyse charges $3,000 for her group program.
So my program, Alignment Accelerator, is 12 weeks long. And this program is really for women who have big dreams for themselves. Maybe they're already in a position of helping others. Maybe they're already coaches or service providers, or they're young moms and they know that they have bigger dreams. They have more to step into for themselves, and yet they feel so held back. And so in my program, there's 3 main components. There's the education component, video teachings, and then there's the integration component, an assignment that goes with each teaching to really help my students integrate what they're learning into their day-to-day life. And then there's the support component. So we have weekly coaching calls. They have their own accountability coach, and it's a group format. So all of the women are learning from each other in an intimate group of about 10 students, and they get to build friendships with like-minded humans and go through this whole evolution and transformation together. In the past 4 years or so, I've coached over 200 women in improving their lives.
Many coaches offer a complimentary intro session to see if you both align as coach and client. Next, coaches typically have clients sign an agreement outlining the working relationship.
Agreement clearly lays it out, everything from refunds, everything from confidentiality, letting my clients know that what is between us is between us.
I'm not going to come after somebody for breaking a contract. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. But just, to keep you accountable, to keep me accountable so that you understand the rules of the road. Contracts are a thing.
Once payment and agreements are complete, the sessions begin.
So, Sam, what is the topic that you have for today for coaching?
I'm here for coaching because I want to ensure that I have a proper work-life balance.
I'm not following a formula. I didn't come to the coaching session with a checklist or anything like that. What it starts with is it's always your agenda. Then I'm actively listening for what's important to you. What do you want to get out of this? What would be, what would shift this for you?
I have a 1.5-year-old daughter, a wife who I love. Obviously, in this new transition of my life, I want to ensure that I impart the right amount of family life with the right amount of work ambitions that I have and wanting to continue on my career, get promotions, achieve certain goals in my career.
We need a mutual understanding of how will we know if we're successful? How will you know when you get there? So that's more of the visioning, taking you somewhere and kind of creating what is that like? Most people don't dream, we problem solve. What would you like it to be like? You're strolling with your wife and your daughter, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we meet on the street and you've solved this problem. And I say, Sam, what's life like for you now? How would you like to describe it?
I've incorporated a little more of what life used to be like, incorporating that a touch more than where it is now.
I remember the very first session I had with my own coach, he pinned me against the wall with an observation that was very uncomfortable for me. And it's an observation I'll remember, forever, because it exposed something that was just on the periphery of my awareness that in that moment, I realized had been holding me back for years.
This was a very specific need where a life coach had the unique skill set to help me talk through it, especially when there's qualitative soft skills. Like, who do you talk to discuss whether you're interrupting a colleague when they're speaking, or how to provide encouragement, or how to provide constructive feedback that's not viewed as criticism.
It really gives a client a champion, someone who has no judgment of them, someone who doesn't have any ulterior motive, if you will.
A lot of things that they would say to me is that I'm hearing you say this, I'm hearing you say this. And then we would think through solutions. And it's something that seems really simple, but they didn't say, hey, you should do this. It was like guiding me to like, oh.
While there are many success stories and people finding a benefit from working with a coach, it's not the right fit for everyone.
I have refunded money a couple times with people who felt like they had paid in advance and were not getting value for whatever reason, or not for them. And I always give money back. That's an easy thing to do and the right thing to do.
I don't offer refunds because whether you make every session and really invest and put all your energy towards your goals, or you miss every session and make no effort, the contract's still the contract of, hey, you pay this amount by this time, then we work together.
First of all, the need to hire a life coach should preclude you from going to a life coach, because there's clearly something wrong. Greater than, I'm not happy, or I want to improve my life. How do you presuppose the competency to deal with every problem a person has?
The benefit of training is I actually don't need any life experience to serve my client. So for instance, you wouldn't come to me because I have 20 years of experience in the journalism industry, but I don't need to have 20 years of experience to help you move forward, because it's actually very little about the minutia and the detail and more about the overall experience.
Understanding the line between coaching and therapy can have consequential effects. It's ultimately up to the coach to understand if the client's needs are beyond the scope of coaching.
11 years ago, when I was in therapy, if I had said, let me pull that therapist out and replace him with a coach, it probably wouldn't have been a very good match, either for the coach or for me. Because honestly, at that point in time, I didn't think I was going to live past the age of 25. I was really in a place of very, very dark depression.
I've had situations with people where we started to working together and it became apparent that it was a therapeutic issue. How that becomes apparent is you just literally cannot move forward. All the conversation is past-based. All the conversation, it comes from a perspective of all of this stuff is happening to me And part of that is also getting trained to understand what the difference is.
I've had clients who've come to me and have disclosed that they are in therapy. I think they work great in tandem as long as your client is clear what the difference is.
There's also the concern that life coaching misdiagnoses a problem, and there's no substitute for therapy.
Most people who are intelligent, okay, who don't self-actualize, fail to do so because of psychological problems. If you're driven, if you're motivated, and you're not tripping over your own feet, you succeed. I mean, if you don't, if you're intelligent, but somehow when you get out in the world, you're constantly stumbling, that isn't because there are rocks there. That's because you're not lifting your feet. If a person is resistive to change and you don't understand what to do about that, they cannot be helped unless you have ways of undoing the resistance, which doesn't come from 8 weekends or 12 whatever weekend seminars. I'm sorry.
Coaches I spoke with seem to agree that more can be done to regulate the industry. However, the way it's currently structured affords people multiple pathways to a profession. I
do believe that the flexibility and the openness for me to create what I want of this, of course, within the realm of life coaching, it has been a huge element of why this works so perfectly for me as a person. If life coaching required 10 years of schooling, I'm not sure if I would have done that.
I believe in this as a profession, and I believe in it being regulated to the point that potential clients know what they're getting and know the difference and can shop accordingly.
Tennis coach, golf coach, acting coach, expertise, I don't think you need to regulate that, personally. It's compartmentalized. But when you get generic and you can't define the exact need of the client, see, all these exigencies, I think, preclude the notion of life coaching.
Coaching, like many professions, was not pandemic-proof. However, a percentage of people sought out guidance in a time of uncertainty. Nearly half of coaches surveyed by ICF in summer 2020 saw their business stay the same, if not improve. 49% of coaches saw their client list unchanged or grow. 54% of coaches worked the same, if not more hours, and 42% saw income stay the same or increase.
I have never had so many past clients and present clients reach out to me. It was suddenly as if the entire world turned on and realized, I need a coach, and if there was ever a time to have a coach, it would be right now.
What I found since COVID-19 is there have been queries from people who've had time to kind of be alone or to do some reflection, and that has prompted them to come forward to say, you know, I'm not so satisfied with where I am, and maybe coaching can help me to move forward.
Even though some coaches have seen their businesses unaffected, coaches do see challenges ahead. The biggest challenge for coaches around the world is the possibility of a global recession. Coaches also worry about the impact of untrained individuals who call themselves coaches.
Do your homework. You can go to the ICF, the International Coach Federation, and look under certain search terms like you would anything else. So what you're looking for, if gender matters to you, if experience matters to you in terms of certifications. It's a fairly intimate relationship, so you want someone that you feel comfortable with, but not too comfortable, because you want to be challenged as well.
I would also have them talk to other people they know who may have worked with a life coach. So that way they could determine, do I need a life coach, an executive coach, or do I need a career coach?
The life coach industry is not a scam, and there seem to be benefits of incorporating a coach into one's life, as long as one understands the differences between coaching and therapy, and so does the coach.
The big key is you have to understand what you want to get out of a life coach. And I gave it some real thought before I agreed to do it and before I started to do it. And I wouldn't reach out to a coach if you're looking for someone to solve problems for you.
And one form of coaching does not work for everybody. I'm very clear that my style of coaching does not work for everybody. And you may actually end up wanting to be with somebody who has no training, who's just going to give you straight life experience.
Ensure that they are walking the talk. Ensure that they are embodied in the things that they're going to support you in.
The fact that life coaching is unregulated gives people a wide range of coaches with various skill sets and levels of experience. And while there's still a stigma and barriers around therapy, coaching may be the alternative some people need.
Clinical psychiatry is really hampered, but in my opinion, it shouldn't be. I mean, you get people stuck, and I think they're much better helped by a brief course of therapy than exhortations to, like Dr. Phil, get real.
There are still barriers to obtaining mental health treatment. And so if coaches can help individuals that cannot find a psychologist or a social worker or a psychiatrist in their area, I certainly think it's somewhere to start. And I would hope if that coach was seeing someone who came to them and they were recognizing that they may be in above their head, they would know then how to connect that person to a licensed mental health professional.